Okay, great. I'll call the meeting to order for the Board of Water and Wastewater Commissioners at the Don B. Griffin Room, Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, on Thursday, June 16th, 2022 at 11:12. We have to call the order executive session, public comments, announcements, consent agenda, and we have abatements for 8 Shorewood Drive. Dan, do you want to just touch base on 8 Shorewood?
Yeah, so I was able to connect with the crew that actually went out to respond. We're continuing this abatement from the last meeting. After talking with the crew, it does appear that this is a result of settling in the road, not due to the homeowner or anything that the homeowner did. So it's likely that when the sewer construction went through and backfilled, the settling of the trench that was backfilled ultimately pulled the service tube out of the corporation stop.
So that's just a cost that we'll take a hit on?
So I guess this is the first one that we've seen in the Phase 2 area. I would say if it continues to happen, it should be a conversation with the town and Robert Auer, or whichever contractor was working on that street. I think at this stage of the game, where we haven't seen any yet, I wouldn't feel it appropriate to charge the homeowner.
All right.
I'll move to abate the amount of $592.64 as per the request from 8 Sherwood Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. All right, next abatement is 337 Route 28. So, according to the write-up, it sounds like the water meter wasn't drained all the way, the meter froze. So looking at the write-up, back in March of 2019, there was a write-up saying that there was an issue with the water meter back then. So was it never replaced or moved at that point?
So it wasn't moved at that point in 2019. They are a seasonal customer, so after coming on board as a seasonal customer, Steve had worked it out with the property owner, but because that location was so difficult to access, that we would turn the service off, but we wouldn't be removing the meter, which is partly why it was in place and was able to freeze this time. The property owner did advise that they were looking to move forward with this abatement, but this year that they were going to, this summer season, we're gonna replumb the area that the meter resides so that it could be more easily accessible to be properly removed and drained in the winter. That said, they are a seasonal customer presently and did pay for the service this past year.
All right. Any questions? Motion?
So are we abating this for now? I moved that we abate 570.06 for 337 Route 28, Harwich.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, Dan, public hearing for the taking of land. So a public hearing, vote to approve order of taking off Chatham Road, taking pursuant to General Law, Chapter 79 of a fee, interest in 5 parcels of vacant land located off Chatham Road containing 7.76 acres of land of owners unknown.
If I'm not mistaken, do we not need a motion to go in to open the public hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Motion to go into open meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dan.
Should we read the legal ad?
Would you like to?
Notices, the advertisement was, notices hereby given that the Water and Wastewater Commission of the Town of Harwich, duly appointed, qualified, and acting pursuant to the vote taken under Article 23 of the 2021 Annual Town Meeting, General Laws, Chapter 79, and any and every other power and authority hereunto enabling, intends to take on behalf of the town the fee in and to 5 parcels of land consisting of 7.76 acres, more or less located off Chatham Road in the town of Harwich, identified by the assessors as parcel 43-E-7-0, which is 0.48 acres, 43-E-9-0, which is 0.96 acres, 43-E-
9A.
9A-0, which is 0.82 acres, 43-E-10-0, which is 0.97 acres, and the last is 43-E-12, or T2-0, which is it's like an eye test, which is 4.1 acres for wellhead and water supply, for wellhead and water supply protection purposes. Said premises are owned or supposed to be owned by an owner or owners unknown. The Water and Wastewater Commission has acted with due diligence to identify the owners of the premises and published notice of this taking with the Cape Cod Chronicle, June 2nd, 2022, and June 9th, 2022. Damages in the amount of $139,350 are awarded to the owner or owners of the premises in accordance with the provisions of GL Chapter 79, Section 6, as amended, and to any other person or corporation having an interest therein. And said damages have been deposited with the treasurer of the town of Harwich Corporation in accordance with the GL Chapter 79, Section 7D. Betterments are not to be assessed under this taking.
Thank you. Anyone here from the public to, yes, ma'am, could you please, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Elaine Shovlin, and I'm Chair of the Real Estate and Open Space Committee. And I just want to say I'm so happy you guys are taking these properties by eminent domain. As you know, we're always in favor of helping resolve the issues of owners unknown, and we've been charged by the Select Board to work on that. So I'm glad progress is being made on some of these properties. We are familiar with these properties. We've talked to Dan in the past about them. And I just want to say that our committee is always willing to help with any project, any properties you see that you're interested in. We will be glad to work with you and coordinate with you to do whatever we can to preserve more of this land for water protection.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your work on this.
Thanks for coming in, appreciate it.
If I may,
Dan?
if I may just extend my thanks to Real Estate and Open Space for, this really started several years ago with a meeting between myself and the Real Estate and Open Space, who brought these owners unknown parcels to our attention. So I just wanted to thank you for making
Okay.
All right, so any questions or comments about the land taking? Is there a motion?
To close the public hearing?
Nope, we have,
Alan's motion.
yeah, Alan's motion right here, Alan?
Yes,
Right here.
I move.
Alan, right here.
Oh, there we go. Mr. Chairman, I move that the board vote to approve and execute the order of taking for the 5 parcels of land consisting of 7.76 acres, more or less, located off of Chatham Road, owned by owners unknown, and authorize the superintendent to record the order of taking and plan with the registry of deeds and deposit the damage awards less outstanding taxes with the treasurer of the town in accordance with General Laws, Chapter 79, Section 7D.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have vote to approve proposed water rate and fee increases. All right. So the Harwich Board of Wastewater Commissioners will be holding a public hearing on Thursday, June 16th, 2022 at 11 a.m. at the Griffin Room at Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, Mass. 02645. The purpose of the hearing is to receive public input regarding the proposed new water rates and other new or increased fees established by the Board of Wastewater Commissioners. Proposed rate and fee increases. Base rate, no increase, $45. 1,000 to 8,000 gallons is $1.42. 8,001 gallons to 15,000 gallons, $2.92. 15,001 gallon to 40,000 gallons, $4.35. 40,001 gallons and up, $6.31. Other fee changes. Service call after hours, $200, labor rate $50 for 4 hours. Out of rotation on/off, $50 during work hours. Fire flow test, $50 per hour. Hydrant use setup removal, $100, all usage to be billed. Water service, water main extension, and fire service fees. Water service application fee, $50 new and renewal. Water service renewal, quote, application fee plus time and materials. New water service, quote, application fee plus system development fee and time and materials. Water main extension, quote, application fee plus system development fee. System development fee schedules. 1-inch tap, $500. 1.75-inch tap, $750. 2-inch tap is $1,000. 4-inch tap is $2,000. 6-inch tap is $3,000. 8-inch tap is $4,000. 10-inch tap is $5,000. A 12-inch tap is $6,000. And a 16-foot tap is $8,000.
16-inch.
16.
Is that a typo there?
Yeah.
16-inch, I thought it was kind of big. It is $8,000.
There's one other, if I may.
Yep.
It was supposed to be 1.5-inch tap, not 1.75-inch tap.
So 1.75 is supposed to be 1.5?
Yeah.
So inch and a quarter.
Inch and a half. So 1 inch and inch and a half.
Oh, so 1.50.
Yep, it's $750.
Yeah.
Okay. The proposed water rates and fee increases are available for viewing at the Harwich Water Department. Hard copies are available at the Water Department office at 196 Chatham Road, Harwich, Mass., and also at the Town Clerk's office at 732 Main Street, Harwich, Mass. All interested parties are invited to attend. Written comments should be received by the Board of Water Waste Commissioners on or before noon on Monday, June 13th, 2022, by mail or email to the commissioners at harwichwater.com. The proposed water rates would go into effect on July 1st, 2022. Any comments regarding the rates?
I have
Yeah.
not received any written correspondence.
Any questions, comments from the board? Noreen.
Thanks. I would just say for the public that these increases are ones that we started to look at a few years ago. Last year, the base rate went up, and also it was a 5% increase. This is the second year of that plan, no change to the base rate, but another 5% increase to the individual tiers. Prior to this, there had not been any increases for,
6 years.
As long as I've been here, 6 years.
yeah, for many years. So, this is the situation for now, and then we would continue to review it as time goes on.
And these new rates increases should carry us to 2025? 2025. Any other discussion, comments? Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt the new rates as presented.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
As
Aye.
amended,
As amended,
because we changed the typos.
as amended.
Yeah.
As
Second.
amended.
As amended.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You got it.
Now I need a motion to close, do you have something? A motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, thank you.
Gary, could we go to new business first? I'd asked Katie to come to join the conversation about sewer regs.
Yeah,
She's got an
absolutely.
11:30, so.
3 minutes.
Figured that way we're not holding you up.
All right. Are we gonna, do you want?
Come back for the sewer regs?
Yeah, yep. All right, so we're moving on to new business to, where are we moving to, Dan?
Superintendent's evaluation?
All right. All right, so in front of you, we have last year's superintendent's evaluation. Did have the employees gotten their,
I don't believe they've been handed out yet. I know Sandy put together this packet just as the kind of template based on last year for the
All right.
board's input if we wanted to change or amend anything. If not, we would look to distribute that and then have it back to the board for the next meeting.
all right. I have no issues with the evaluation as it is, or the employee index.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any problem with the superintendent either. We can fill in the evaluations, but I just soon extend his job and give him a raise.
Well, we need to do the evaluation. When can we get that? When do you think Sandy will have that?
If we're not looking to make any amendments to the form, we can distribute those this week, and I'm sure they could be ready for the next meeting.
Does anyone make any amendments or changes to the form that we have right now, the employee form? The employees that evaluate Dan, and then we use that.
This is one we've used for several years.
Yeah, all right, so there's no issues with that. So let's move forward with that, and we'll schedule the evaluation at our next meeting. Is
Okay.
that fine, right? Okay.
So, just because we were new last year, so next meeting, we'll get back the employees' forms?
We'll have it before, we'll have the employee forms before. The evaluation should be done before our next meeting. At our next meeting, we'll all do one form, and that'll be the form that gets turned into the clerk's
So,
office.
I would.
Fill yours out, you would fill out your evaluation.
Okay, so fill out the draft.
Yep, you can fill out your evaluation, we'll all do our own separate evaluation, and then we'll do one together as a board.
And when we fill it out, who do we give it to? We give it to
If you
you?
want to give them to Sandy,
Yes,
she
Sandy
could
puts it all together.
compile them so that there's the 5 individual as well as the composite.
Right,
Okay,
and the
Next
average,
meeting.
and the average is put together.
all right. So we can use this draft form to fill it out and give it to
Right.
Sandy
Yeah.
before the next
Yeah.
meeting? Okay, great.
All right, so the form, the evaluation are good to go as is. All right. So it's gonna move all down news business until she comes
Yeah,
back?
till she
That's
gets
fine. Phase 3 wastewater pump station site.
So included in the packet is a couple of graphics of the proposed Phase 3 sewer area. So right now, at this stage of the design, the surveyors are out getting the ground survey data, and also I'm working with GHD to secure pump station locations for the Phase 3 area.
Where is that, Dan?
That right here, so the arrow is pointing to the little green box there, which is the
Right.
proposed location for the pump station.
And the Phase 3 area is all the colors?
Presently, right now,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
One of the proposed sites does,
Do we want to give one to Bill or no? No.
You get, we have extra one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the proposed pump station sites does fall on land
We'll give it to
under the
Bill
care and
afterwards.
control of the Water Wastewater Commission. There's, I believe it's about 40 or 41 acres off of Pleasant Bay Road that was taken by eminent domain sometime, I believe it was the 60s maybe. There's no well on the site. Presently, there is a certified vernal pool on the site, so the likelihood that it could be a viable well site is low, just because there's a vernal pool on it. That said, this was just a pump station location, so that wouldn't prohibit future use of that land if we did need it. But this is a town-owned parcel, but just wanted to get the Wastewater Commission's feedback before we continued utilizing that as a site.
How many pump stations we need out there?
So for Phase 3, presently, there is 4 pump stations.
So is that these other little green boxes?
Yes.
You know, you've managed to name roads, which, you know, are probably like the few roads names I don't know in Harwich, thank you. Like, Martha Eaton?
Yeah.
Where is that? Can you give me a better,
Standish Woods.
okay, that helps a
It's a
little.
cul-de-sac off of the Standish Woods
Yeah.
greater circle.
So if
Wait.
you're going down 39 into Brewster,
Where is 39 on this?
Right, yeah. That's all 39.
so if you're going down 39, right? Go down
Right.
39. This is like the
Okay.
Brewster line right here, right?
Pleasant Bay
So
crosses
Martha,
over.
Williams is a left. This all connects in the back this way right here. So This is
Okay.
39 right here.
All
And then
right,
Kimberly's over here. Kimberly should
Okay.
be like right here or right here.
yeah, All
I
right.
think Randolph or something Randolph's over this way.
yep.
So this is the Brewster line right here.
All right, yeah, I got that. This is usually, I remember from the last time, the time that I usually close to a car accident, trying to track the territory and read the street signs at the same time, so, okay, thank you. So these other 3 are private
Yeah.
property?
Yep. I've been working to secure a right of entry with the property owners so far. I do have at least one back from Wilma's Way. I have a meeting with the Standish Woods Homeowners Association next Thursday afternoon to discuss the Martha Eaton
Okay.
pump station. The Round Cove station, I met with the original owner of the property and currently seeking a relocated site. There's some cluster development land around Washburn Way that is right across the street that would also be a suitable location. So we're in good shape.
Dan, you don't see any issues having a pump station on that site there with DEP, without vernal pool and everything?
Not with the, no, because everything's contained.
Right.
You run into an issue if you have like effluent recharge,
Right.
because then you can impact the hydrology, but where it's just a pump station,
Right.
shouldn't be any issue.
Noreen?
So has it been discussed, you know, our first round, everything was so new. Are these submersibles? Are they above ground? Are they gonna be enclosed? Are they all the same?
So we haven't got to the conversation yet where we're talking design with the engineers. If the site will allow it, we'll probably lean towards the suction lift stations.
That's the above ground?
The above ground. I also would put the caveat that I'll also, we also want to take input from the abutters,
Right.
the immediate abutters, right? So if someone would prefer, a white cedar shake shed as opposed to, a couple metal cabinets, I'd like to be able to steer the design to minimize impact on the abutters. So that's,
So looking at these, you feel that you've left yourself enough leeway to
Yeah.
make those good? So, I'm sorry.
Noreen?
When you pick pump stations at this stage, so early, so you don't really have any idea yet about who would need grinder pumps? I mean, whether a pump station would be
Yeah.
better than a grinder pump street or things of that nature?
yeah, so at this point, So we did the sewer cab model of all the pipes in the street. So that's the real big driver for pump station location. Right now, they are pulling all of the septic records for all the parcels abutting the Phase 3 area, and they're going to be citing their proposed best location for the sewer service. During that exercise, they'll also identify potential grinder pump sites. If one of these easements, if we couldn't get an easement, say just a hypothetical, the Standish Woods neighborhood didn't want to provide an easement, the alternative, if we cannot secure a municipal pump station, would be that that neighborhood receives grinder pumps instead. So right now, we are using the water use data and defining the sewer shed, so which properties are contributing to which pump station, so we can get the sizing of the pumps and the wet wells and things of that nature. And then from there, we kind of go type, get into the suction lift or submersible and things like that. But they will be giving us a list of potential grinders, if any, but they're not at that point yet.
Noreen?
I have a question, but it's more on Phase 3 in general, and I know that's pretty poor as opposed to this is specifically about pump stations. Do you mind?
No?
Okay. So just driving here, it was occurring to me that, I don't know if I've heard it discussed or not, but, the maybe fall town meeting, and that maybe there would be a wastewater article on it. So if I'm going too far into the theoretical, just shut me down. But if those maybes came through, would that be for the actual vote? Is that what's considered on the 30 million?
For fall, no.
Okay,
If it all if there is a fall town meeting, it would be my recommendation that the town look to secure the easements.
I see.
And then in the spring, we would look to appropriate funding, because we have to have both of those in place before we can submit
Right.
for the SRF application.
So what piece would be on the if fall town meeting?
The easement.
Oh, that has to go through town meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. No, I glad to hear that, because it occurred to me that, there's gonna need to be so much public education before this. And I know GHD would be good, but, really, the planning and design of Phase 3, it really involves the Board of Selectmen, so to get them involved in this, I would hope would have some dedicated meetings with the public, so that's all. So if we have more time, that's good.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dan. Any other questions, comments?
No, I would think that from the amount of development around this property, we wouldn't put a well in there.
And even beyond the development, I think the biggest hurdle would be that vernal pool.
Do you need anything from else today on this? Just,
No, it's already town-owned parcel, so long as there isn't any opposition to us proceeding with that as a site.
Nope.
That's good.
and of course, for the public, any of this design is drafted, this
Yeah.
point, yeah. See it in the newspaper.
Water, wastewater rebranding.
Yeah, so I wanted to put this on there. Obviously, it's the Board of Water Wastewater Commissioners, as adopted a couple years ago with the charter change. I was brought on as wastewater superintendent, but this is really, I don't know that there's been a good recognition or acknowledgement that it's not, just us. There is a whole office staff working behind the scenes that has been working behind the scenes to make this all happen for the last couple years leading up to actually implementing and bringing the sewer system online. We did, if you go to our website now, it does say Harwich Water Wastewater Department. We're working on, I believe already did get the URL, harwichwaterwastewater.com, so we're starting to shift gears in that direction. But really just to recognize, really Tracy, Sandy, Wellesley, Steve, who have been providing a ton of support on the back end, policies, just getting themselves up to speed and educated, So really just wanted to kind of bring that up.
So we are the Harwich Wastewater Department. Are we changing the sign out front?
I think we
On Chapel
probably
Road?
should, yeah.
All right,
I mean, the whole letterhead, you know, because it's been kind of a quasi
right,
slow burn, if you will.
right.
But really just to kind of say, this is,
Yeah, I think it's time we start moving in that direction, acknowledging it, so absolutely, yeah. I'm in favor of it. Mr. Thompson?
I'm okay.
Maybe we should start mentioning it, every time we talk about something.
Yeah.
Just to remind people that.
and it may just be me in
No,
my own head that's doing it, but I just,
It doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt to
Yeah.
put it out there, I mean,
I actually am glad you mentioned it because I think, like, I've become complacent,
Right.
and a ton of work was taken on. It's gonna get to be even more work, and, so, we'll start to think of ideas or ways we can punch that up.
yeah.
all right. So, this next one's interesting. So, it's the, water sewer bill sweepstakes insert. So who exactly is putting this on?
Invoice Cloud,
See
who
that.
our paperless billing company, is holding their own sweepstakes that we are offering to extend to our customer base.
So now this just isn't for the town of Harwich, this must be for all of their accounts, I'm assuming.
Yes?
Wellesley?
Hi, everyone. So yes, this is actually a third time we've actually offered the sweepstakes. Well, through Invoice Cloud, I should say. They're the ones who offer the sweepstakes. And it's just a way to incentivize people being aware of the online payment portal and to register or pay their bills that way. Actually, last year, someone from Hyannis won the sweepstakes.
Oh, nice,
So maybe somebody in Harwich this year.
all right.
So this is just a way to get the word out. Like I said, this is the third time that if we do go through with it, that we will offer sweepstakes for our ratepayers.
All right. Thank you.
So this has been a bill insert in the past?
Yes, we have had inserts in the past. Last year, we actually had a note on our bills.
Had a what?
On our bills, our water bills.
Okay.
And we have it on our website, so it's just, we wanted to kind of bring it to you because we're going to be having several inserts in our water bill this time around because we have a lot going on. So this is really just to get the word out and to get your blessing
All right,
for us holding it.
yeah, I mean, it's fine, I mean, I don't have any issues with it. Mr. Thompson? Any issues?
I'm fine.
Noreen?
Yeah.
John?
All set?
Dan?
And just on the topic of bill inserts, so going out with this one also is the lockbox change bill insert. And today, I guess, would be probably the last day if we want to consider something for the water restrictions, or if what's printed on the bill would be sufficient, or if we want to consider doing like a saturated mailing outside the buck slips. Because we do have people that just receive their bill electronically. They're not gonna see a buck slip likely that we put in there. So just wanted to throw out a couple different options. Also don't want, the concern if we put too many buck slips in, people might not
Right.
see them.
Well, how do you think the signs are doing? I mean, are you getting a lot of phone calls
We're
or
getting calls, right?
Noticeable
Yes.
people
Yeah, we're definitely getting calls.
that are watering outside of the,
People are calling on neighbors' properties they drive by.
Really?
We've been making contact, trying to send letters and reaching out where applicable. If they're on a well, there really isn't anything
Right.
that we can do, but if they're a water customer and they're watering outside, then we've been reaching out to them.
all right. Noreen?
I had talked to Dan about advertising more about the water restrictions, but I didn't like the idea of putting a bill insert in this coming bill, only because we might restrict it further then. And so, if people got a piece of paper in 2 weeks, and then it's the middle of July and we decide that we need to cut down to 2 days, then to me that we were setting up ourselves for confusion, but that's just my feeling. Especially because I looked at the bill, you sent me a copy of the bill and I liked the wording on that, so,
I don't have a problem sticking with what we have for the time being.
yeah.
Me too.
All right?
You know, if it
Thanks,
needs-
Rosie. You have something else?
Oh, I just wanted to add that last year, we had it in the same location on our bills, and it seemed to work fine. And like you said, Noreen, it is more flexible if we have to change it again.
Yeah, great.
Keep it moving.
All right. Thank you, Rosie.
Thank you.
So we need to vote this cloud. So I'll make a motion to approve the placement of the invoice cloud sweepskate bill insert
Sure.
in this coming bill.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay over there, Dan?
Yeah.
All right. Next up is board reorganization. Wow, it's that time of year already.
I can't believe.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your pleasure? Everybody? I don't all
Well,
jump up at
Judith
once.
Judith isn't here,
Yeah,
so
let's
that's a good
nominate her.
opportunity to.
Got awful quiet. Board reorganization. Who would like to chair?
I would rather not chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that you continue as the chair.
Second.
Second.
I didn't ask for a second yet. I think we have to have a little discussion on this.
This
Are you sure?
discussion's-
I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it if that's the board's feeling. All right, so we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So we need a second chair, co-chair. What is it?
Vice Chair?
Vice chair.
I'll move that Alan be the vice chair.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And I guess you should nominate Noreen for clerk. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay,
Wonderful.
as we say.
Yeah, should we move on to superintendent's report?
Yeah, sure, actually, that will work. So a couple things to update the board. We're gonna be out next week. It's on the schedule to install the meter pit for the filling station at the Pleasant Lake Bike Trail.
Oh, nice.
So that's on schedule. That's the only one that we're installing a new service for. The other ones are being plumbed in by DPW. I talked to Sean a week or so ago. He said they should be working on them in the month of June, so I'm hoping by the
Can
end
you
of the
just,
month.
just for the public knowledge, what
Yeah.
we're doing there?
Yeah, so a generous donation was made last year to the town by Patrick Otten to purchase and install the drinking water pedestals, the water bottle filling stations. So we have purchased 4 of them, and we're been working to get everything scheduled and installed. So we're proposed to put one at Red River Beach, one at Brooks Park, one at the Harwich Chamber of Commerce on 28, and then one at the pull-off by Pleasant Lake.
You know, you can't even pull in there anymore. They put stones.
Yeah. For
So-
bikers.
Oh, no, I understand that, but I'm just saying you can't even get in that parking lot. Do you even know why that parking lot's closed?
I believe it was a site issue. I think they closed it because it was a dangerous intersection. I
Oh,
can't.
all right, I was
I
just
know it was a
wondering.
few years. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It was because they were pulling out on the road. There was
Okay.
a lot of accidents.
Awesome, yeah, I'm excited about it, so that's great.
Yeah. So
All right,
water main flushing should be wrapping up in the next couple weeks. I also heard, I had volunteered to do some voluntary glyphosate Roundup monitoring with the Department of Agriculture and Resources, or DAR. So they put the program on hold, but they just reached out this week that they're gonna be kicking it off soon. So It was a voluntary program. They're gonna send out someone from their office to collect the samples with one of our staff, so we'll get to see what's in the water there. I received today the closeout documentation for contract 2 of phase 2. So that's kind of a big milestone. The change order work on Continental and Witta Drives are still ongoing. I believe they're wrapping up or wrapped up Continental today and will be moving on to Witta. I think I mentioned earlier, but just to reiterate that the phase 3 survey work is still ongoing out in East Harwich. So if people see a survey crew, that's what they're out there doing. And that is good for me.
All right. Now that you're back, we'll jump back to I'm sorry, Nora, you have a question?
Dan, different topic, but because you gave me this nifty list, how are we doing on the CWMP update? And
Yeah, I am planning to be before the selectmen in 2 weeks. I think it's the 27th, to discuss updates on that project. So they've been ongoing, but planning to present at the end of the month.
thank you.
All right, let's go back to sewer regulations. Dan, how do you want to do it? Do you want to just touch on the highlighted areas? I mean, we're not going to go through the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
book.
Yeah, let me get myself organized here. All right. So I did kind of briefly, very quickly touch on them at the last meeting. So just to get back into them, there's not a ton of revisions being proposed, but some additional language to clarify some of the provisions around regulation of the sewers, flow allotment per parcel, and how those sorts of things are handled. So in section 1 of the regulations, and Katie, the health director, is here with us as well. Her and I have batted around the regs a bit and thought that could use some clarity, some
Okay.
clarification. So in the first section, and essentially it's all trying to tie everything back to one document that people can refer to. So I guess I'll just read the new language, I
Right,
guess, and we
that's
talk
fine.
about. All right. So new language under section 1. So any structure in existence on July 1st, 2016, regardless of its flow, may maintain that flow. And then the new language, to determine the approved wastewater flow for structures existing on or before July 1st, 2016, the structure's use and floor plan will be evaluated and allocated flow consistent with 310 CMR 15.203, system sewage flow design criteria, and any Board of Health regulation amending such in effect at July 1st, 2016. So that sentence is referencing the tables in the Title V regulations that allocate flow per building use or bedroom count or seats in a restaurant or things of that nature. So this gives us kind of a clear document to refer back to for quantifying flow allocated.
Okay.
So just so I don't lose you, it's not tied to actual flow per a specific house. It's just tied to the number of bedrooms and the potential flow for that house.
Well, I guess that's where it gets a little more complicated. So everyone was grandfathered, right? So in a situation, say you have a 2-bedroom house, 110 per bedroom, you'd be allowed 220 gallons per day. If you, in your 2-bedroom house prior to 2016, used 500 gallons per day, you would be grandfathered that
I see.
additional flow. If, so you're grandfathered, or in the event that you're a single person living in a 5-bedroom home and you only used 100 gallons per day, and now that house is fully occupied,
Right.
would be referring back to that flow table to see what the 5-bedroom house should be allocated, because your use will not be representative of future use
Right.
per se.
So if you exceed it, that part is grandfathered.
Yeah.
But if you went under the regs, then you're allowed,
Yeah,
okay, for your baseline.
that's what we're trying to
meet.
affect here
Okay,
ultimately.
the Title V ones, all right. One sentence down. 64 pages
Yeah.
to go.
Did you want to weigh anything on that, or? All right, so this is where the next proposed revisions are under section 3 relative to undeveloped parcels. So that read previously, for the purpose of determining wastewater flow, any existing lot otherwise qualified may be permitted for that wastewater flow as determined under the Board of Health's regulations in effect July 1st, 2016, whichever is less. Parcels located, and then the new language states, parcels located within a zone 2 of a public water supply or other designated nitrogen-sensitive areas shall be limited to no more than 1 bedroom per 10,000 square foot of lot space, or is allowed under section 5, aggregate determinations of flow and nitrogen loadings. So this gets more to the, I guess, commitment the town made that zoning wasn't gonna change as a result of sewer being implemented. So the Title V regulations designate pretty much all of East Harwich as a nitrogen-sensitive area due to the wellheads out there. When you implement and put a sewer system in, you're removing the nitrogen completely. So that Zone 2 nitrogen-sensitive designation kind of goes away with a sewer system, essentially. So this is trying to tie back to the component of the Title V regulations that was, committed by the town to the residents, that these aren't gonna change with the implementation of sewer.
So lot sizes can't get smaller.
No, and pre-existing non-conforming can't get bigger, That said, Section 5 is an entirely new section, which is the aggregation determination of flows and nitrogen loading. Now, this was and is still presently allowed under Title V. So going back to our 2-bedroom example, if you have a 2-bedroom house on a half-acre lot, you can only ever build 2 bedrooms out in one of these designated areas, unless you purchase a portion of land in the same watershed, deed it unbuildable, then you can use that square footage from the deeded unbuildable lot to add additional bedrooms to your house. So you have a 20,000 square foot lot in East Harwich today, you buy another 20,000 in the same sub-watershed, you could then build 2 more bedrooms on your 20,000 square foot lot, because we're not
Right.
increasing the total growth for the particular sewer area. Did I hit that right?
Yes, Katie O'Neill, Health Director. That's correct. You're basically purchasing another piece of land, never building that, and then you can expand. So you're concentrating the density in that one sewered area. Title V is very specific about the deed restrictions that they have, so that's something that we could take from and change it to a sewer instead of a Title V restriction.
How much land is out there for people to potentially be able to purchase just to up their usage?
So it doesn't necessarily have to be vacant. And here's another example. Let's take that 2-bedroom house on a 3-acre lot.
Noreen's 2-bedroom house on a
Yep.
3-acre lot.
On a 3-acre lot. We could deed 2.5 acres unbuildable on Noreen's lot. which would limit any future potential development on her specific parcel. But those other 2.5 acres could be reallocated for your neighbor who wants to put a mansion on.
Or could I make my 2-bedroom a 4-bedroom?
Yeah,
Okay.
So,
but not if you deed that to somebody else.
But if I deed that unbuildable, but I don't change the name, I could make mine a 4-bedroom.
You wouldn't need to, because it's all yours.
Okay.
So I'm saying for like a,
Good point.
yeah,
so are these abutting or adjoining lots?
they don't have to be.
They don't have to be.
And there's already some examples of this out there. There's one property, I believe it's on Sherwood, that purchased,
It's not the-
20,000
it's not
square
number 8, is it?
feet. No, I don't think so. But, purchased, or maybe it was a farm. There's a horse farm in the area that had to purchase, deeded unbuildable land from another parcel, quarter mile away so that they could build. So
So they could build,
or expand, or,
right.
So that lot now becomes vacant, unbuildable,
or
and
no longer,
the rights are gone
Yeah.
to the developed lot.
exactly.
I mean, not that this has anything to do with wastewater, but if someone does sell their land to someone else, unbuildable, right, they deed their property unbuildable, how does that affect their resale price if they don't have,
Could affect it negatively, right? That's
that's on it, that's on it now,
Yeah.
there's no going back.
and I think unless the use by which the nitrogen ag was taken changes, you could undo it. So in the instance I was referring to before, there was a horse farm that purchased land from, a neighbor in the area. If that horse farm is no longer a horse farm someday, and they don't need that nitrogen credit, that could be undone and return that, as buildable on the original owner's lot. So you on the horse farm, you're in a nitrogen sensitive area, the town comes down and says, you can't have this many stables, right, I guess, or you can't have, this many stables, you're putting too much of a nitrogen load in the soil. You could say, okay, well, I'm gonna buy an acre from Noreen, who lives up the street. Now you have enough land to build your horse farm. You decide you don't wanna deal with horses anymore. Noreen wants to put an addition on. You could change your land use and give her the rights back to the property so that Noreen could then build an addition on.
These things can't come up that often, can they?
It seems like a nut, like a peanut in a nutshell, we're just moving it
It is.
around. Cause what if that second party who's purchased land from the first party, they decide, you know what, I bought more than I need, can they turn around and sell it to a third party?
I wouldn't think so.
No, I mean, these are all recorded transactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure it's all posted at the registry of deeds of the restrictions. You have to go with it.
Right.
So,
The deeds go with perpetuity with the property unless, like Dan said, they're removed from the property. To Noreen's question, I think we had 2 or 3 last year.
I'm surprised that many, yeah.
There's not a lot of property left though, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would this be a technique used maybe more by developers if they had enough room for, if they wanted big homes on a smaller, I don't mean 40Bs, I mean,
They certainly could use it
a way to get bigger homes
Yeah.
on a
smaller lot.
smaller area, they would be allowed to do that,
Yeah.
correct? If they got a big enough chunk somewhere else.
Yeah.
Within the same sub-watershed.
Yeah.
Wow. But, I mean, I know it's separate, I guess I'm still surprised, because I didn't realize till recently that 40Bs are not restricted by any of this, that 40Bs, if they are successful in building a 40B development somewhere in our Seward area, we have to allow the connection.
Yeah.
And I don't believe we discussed that over the years. That was new to me.
Yeah.
Well, we've had this discussion.
Yeah, I mean, just with the various 40Bs coming
Right.
up, you know, potentially proposed.
Well, I mean, what I mean is, for years, when wastewater committees always said zoning rules, you know, nothing gets by the regular zoning rules. But within those discussions, we didn't say except 40Bs, you know, so
Right.
this is,
Yeah.
this is a step up from that conversation, which,
But usually 40B is pretty basic as far as, you know, houses go. You're not building 3 and 4 bedroom homes, generally
Right.
speaking. 2 bedrooms, usually a general run, so they're, in a affordable range. So I don't see that.
well, but I mean, like, what about Chloe's Path? I mean, I know they didn't get what they want, but that was 96 homes.
Yeah.
So what do they care if it's 2 bedrooms, if it's 96, or, you know what I'm saying?
17 being low income.
Pardon me?
With the 17 of the units being low income. You know.
Right,
Right.
yeah, so, I don't know, I say it because it was new to me and something we should
And I guess one thing I
get
think
to know.
that, I think the thing that codifies that, or at least with the sewer system component, and I'm gonna try to quote Title V, so I'm gonna look to Katie, to make sure I don't misspeak, but my understanding is Title V says that if there's a municipal sewer available, that people have to hook up to it. Is that, yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
that's a Title V, not that that changes anything,
Yeah.
but that Title V regulation, you know, statewide is if the sewer pipe's there, you gotta hook up to it.
So it kinda doesn't matter what you are
Right.
in one way. It's just that, the restrictions per bedroom and stuff like that won't apply as
Right.
much to a 40.
And that's something that I think is kind of important to consider when we talk about the nitrogen ag
Right,
component. You know, it is, and I wrestle with it in my head, because it kind of, it's gonna be a burden, right? If you wanna build a bigger house and you don't have the lot space, I guess this enables you to do it. But for people that, say Noreen deeded some of her land as unbuildable so that you could put your horse farm in, now that the sewer system has gone in past Noreen's house and your horse farm, there's no real reason to have the nitrogen ag between the two of you, because both of the flow's ending up in the sewer system, not adding nitrogen to the natural, to the environment. So zoning would still exist. The zoning as it is today would exist, though that 10,000 square foot per lot space is a Title V limitation. And to allow for you to, get around that, they have the nitrogen ag component, but the sewer's taking all the nitrogen out. So that's just my own internal thing I wrestle with, but.
You see, the only thing that could restrict as far as when the sewer system is in is the ability for flow. So if it can't handle the flow, then it can be around it.
Yeah, not tomorrow, but you can call me.
The amount of sewer flow, if that's restricted, then the restrictions fall back on development. So, other than that, as long as it has the capacity, you can build. So,
Yeah.
Noreen?
so, am I simplifying it by saying, do a lot of these complications come in because we're only sewering 50%, or we're only going down to a certain percentage? In other words, if we were like Chatham and we were gonna do 100%, then, I mean, you would still have restrictions,
Yeah.
but there wouldn't be,
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say? There wouldn't be so many trade-offs allowed or things,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be 100% of people, no matter what you are. but we have these complications because,
Well, and I think partially also because, you know, the town, I guess the part I see it is the town made the commitment, right, that we're not gonna change anything
right,
out in East Harwich.
Yeah.
Well, just the fact that the sewer's there changes things from a state statute perspective.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's my opinion that what we're proposing here tries to tie it back to the town's commitment of not changing anything.
yep,
Now, you know, I guess that's where it comes back to for me, is the town said, look, we're not gonna change anything. And while we didn't change anything, the existence of sewer did, right? It kind of removed that 10,000 square foot nitrogen sensitive, you know, component. So because the existence of sewer changed it, we're now closing that gap, if you will, through these regs.
no, I mean, I like that idea, because we did tell people that, you know,
Right.
zoning rules, but
Weren't gonna
it's
change.
certainly complicated, you know?
And that's one thing to think of too. Zoning is the, I guess, do you know with zoning out in East Harwich are,
So if the Six Ponds district, that's really the only zoning that limits lot size. The 10,000 square feet is not a zoning requirement, that's Title V. So really, in theory, when the sewer came to town, that went out the window. But it was the commitment that the town made that we wouldn't expand development and densify that area. The town stated that we would keep the 1 bedroom per 10,000 square feet, or the 440 rule. But it's not actually a zoning requirement, there's just the Six Ponds district that would be.
Thanks.
and that may be, you know, when we have a new town planner, you know, if we did amend the zoning regulations so that there was lot size limitations in East Harwich, we wouldn't need all of these regulations.
Yeah.
What do you got next? Four? Rebuilding?
Just did 4, right? Yeah. And then variances. So I'll just read it as proposed, as amended. In the case of unusual and substantial hardship, not the result of acts or omissions of the landowner, the Board of Wastewater Commissioners. Okay, sorry, let me read that again, because I got off sync. In the case of an unusual or substantial hardship, not the result of acts or omissions of the landowner, the Board of Water Commissioners may apply for a variance to be held after a public hearing of which notice has been given by publication and posting for a minimum of 2 weeks, may grant a variance to Article 2 of these regulations without substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of this regulation or the latest version of the town's CWMP. So, yeah, so this was just to, although I kind of want to reposition where the Board of Water Commissioners lies in there, but this is essentially to let residents know that if they are seeking an abatement or an amendment, a variance, sorry, from Article 2, which is the determination of present wastewater flow. So if Noreen's 2-bedroom house wants a variance from the 2-bedroom house, she can apply for it through the Board of Water Wastewater Commissioners, and that we would have to post a public hearing for 2 weeks, and then the board, in their power, could grant a variance to the flow limitations. At this stage of the game, in my opinion, it would be very premature to start issuing variances to flow. It wouldn't be my recommendation to go that route until we actually have, you know, a majority of the customers online and can see actual flow to verify that we do have capacity to grant additional flow to people. But that said, there should be a provision to allow it.
Noreen?
So, This makes me think about the other one with the two-bedroom house that always used like the 500 gallons, or actually it could be any house. I mean, what does happen if you all of a sudden are using double what your allocation was, or was, I mean,
Yeah, so how to manage flow,
Yeah.
right? So, and I've thought about this a bit. I don't know that it's feasible necessarily to manage this on a parcel by parcel
Right.
level. So my thought on how to manage it, right, is we have sewer sheds so we know every parcel that's contributing flow to a specific pump station, right? So I can, with that information, see where the excess flow is coming from, right? And then we can target water conservation efforts like low flow devices, low flow shower heads that, we can start to curb by sewer shed and try to reduce flow, across the board. We're just not in a position or set up with the technology yet that we could be kind of dinging people's meters every day and making sure they're not going over their specific amount. And then two, also, we're not gonna know if all the water that goes into the house goes onto the lawn or goes, out the waste pipe. So reading someone's meter isn't really gonna give us an accurate representation of their flow to the collection system necessarily either.
so, moving into this variance section, does that sort of mean that, in my two-bedroom home, if I all of a sudden decided to allow 10 people to live there, I could either just let things roll along, and I didn't give them any extra bedrooms, or I could come to you and say, my flow is gonna be much increased, and so I'd like a variance. Is that the situation that would generate this?
So it's actually the design flow that you're applying for
Oh,
a variance
okay.
for. So say you have a two-bedroom property
Right.
on your half acre, and say something happened that a family member had to move in, you had a
Right.
hardship that they couldn't afford something, it would be to come to apply to your board for a variance for an extra bedroom. It very rarely will be the actual flow. 110 gallons per day per bedroom is actually a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see that happen at all.
Mhm.
Most devices are low flow at this point anyway.
Yeah.
We receive water readings when we get the Title V inspections, and I don't think we've ever seen one come through that used the design flow. So the variance is actually for basically the design on
Yeah.
paper,
No,
not the
that makes, I'm
actual.
glad you said the design, because your average homeowner going along isn't even gonna know what they were supposed to use, if they had more. I mean, it's not gonna be something they think about, so.
It would be a hardship if
thank-
someone had to add a bedroom.
So it'd definitely be a ridiculous water bill.
Thanks.
Next, Dan?
I don't believe I have.
Well,
think
we
that's
were
all I
gonna,
have.
but I honestly haven't reread it, but we were gonna, talk at some point more about the land use controls, those pages, even though they're not highlighted.
Yeah,
That start on
can-
page 19.
happy to jump into those.
Well, I'm not really prepared to jump
Or-
with you.
At least, well, I guess that's kind of part of why I wanted to jump into it.
Okay. You got me?
Yeah. So, land use controls indict the Water Wastewater Commission, the Board of Health, and the Board of Selectmen. I use that term intentionally. Because there really is a role that all three kind of have to play. And as I've read through them, I think it's becoming more clear to me at least what kind of the intent of the land use controls component was and what the relationship is between the three governing bodies. So, and I guess this is just an overview of kind of my interpretation of them for another conversation at another meeting, I guess. But, so, there's general land use controls, which refer to the sewer service areas. So we have 8 sewer service areas in town. The moving of flow allocation from sewer service area to sewer service area can only be done by the Board of Selectmen for reasons outlined on page 21. So, the Board of Selectmen may reserve the right to reallocate flows within all sewer service areas provided that the following provisions are met. An applicant seeking to alter a sewer service
Where
area,
are you, Dan?
page 21,
Top of the page.
bullet 1.
Okay, thanks. Sorry.
So, start that over.
Board of Selectmen reserve the right.
So, bullet number 1 there.
Yep.
Okay. So an applicant seeking to alter a sewer service area or flow within a sewer service area shall be responsible for all costs associated with that change, including the potential filing of a notice of project change with MEPA, as well as burden of proof to demonstrate the public health need or water quality need and public benefit. A reallocation of flows within a sewer service area shall not exceed the total project flow increase for Harwich in the projected 40-year planning period as presented March 2016 CWMP. A reallocation of flow from one sewer service area to another without exceeding the total flow increase shall be subject to a simple vote of the Board of Selectmen. And a reallocation of flow to an area outside of an existing sewer service area shall only be allowed under the following circumstances: for non-public health emergencies or water quality benefits by unanimous vote of the Board of Selectmen and by a positive vote of a legally convened town meeting if zoning changes or town funding is required. This provision is possible provided the total flow for the 40-year planning period is not exceeded. Or for public health emergencies by unanimous vote of the Board of Selectmen and by recommendation of the Harwich Board of Health. This provision is possible provided the total flow for the 40-year planning period is not exceeded. So those are the conditions that the board can shift greater flow from one sewer service area to another. Now, let's see where we can,
Where you gonna put my house now?
what's that? All right. So, I'm just trying to get the bearings here.
Well, I'm gonna make the wild assumption that Pleasant Bay was approved at 300,000 because of our IMA with Chatham.
Yep.
All right, we got one down anyway. On this nifty chart, which wasn't in the original land use controls, and this helps. Oh, it says it right there.
I'm losing my spot here looking for the health.
Katie, while Dan's trying to find himself over there, is there anything that you want to throw out there that you find important to keep an eye on as far as the rules, regs?
So Dan and I have actually been working pretty closely. Most of my comments are already in
Okay,
there, but I
alright.
appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for your help on this, appreciate it.
On page 22, under the chart there, the town has an executed intermunicipal agreement with the town of Howard for 300,000 gallons. Should that be
Chatham.
Chatham?
Should be the
Oh,
town
yeah.
of Chatham.
All right.
Good one now.
Good one, Alan.
I think we addressed my other thoughts in the other. I was consolidating the land use controls portion of the regs with Article 2, which we already discussed.
Okay,
So, Water Wastewater Commission can grant a variance So if there's a sewer service area that hasn't met capacity, you guys have the authority to grant, should it be warranted, additional flow to someone. The Board of Health and Health regulations at the time are used for determining existing wastewater flow for a given parcel, and the selectmen can shift parcels from one side of town to the other, essentially.
Noreen, I just know what she looks at.
I really appreciate Katie coming of this, because this discussion helped me a lot, rather than trying to fight through this language. But I have an uncomfortable feeling about the different points along the way where the Board of Selectmen was the Board of Sewer Commissioners, and then we became, you know what I mean, the whole story of the wastewater commissioners. But, so, if we today were to say, you know, what you just said about the Board of Selectmen being able to reallocate outside of an area, if we were to change that language right now while we're here, you know what I'm saying? It's confusing to everyone if we vote to approve this, but yet they have to follow it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I guess that's, I don't disagree, and it would be my recommendation, if we were going to propose any amendments to the land use controls section of the regs, that we do include all three boards, all three bodies. But where, at present,
Right.
we're not. I would say we're okay, you know, to go along the process of adopting them, subject to review by Chatham, comment period, and the like. Because it was this, prior to this board adopting the full regulations on May 26th, the Board of Selectmen had not adopted regulations outside of the land use control document.
And you're right, and that was my very first meeting.
Oh,
So
right, yeah,
that got by me. So I don't know if that's
Yeah.
really fair, because like this iteration of the land use controls is different from the one I was familiar with that used to be the separate policy.
Yeah.
So quite honestly, at my very first meeting, I didn't catch this in the middle of 70 pages, you know? But, I mean, I don't know. I think land use controls are gonna become a very important topic, and you know, maybe by our next meeting, I'll be able to explain what I mean, but, I guess I wanna keep the Board of Selectmen on the hook as much as they should be. So I don't know if I'd wanna go ahead and approve regulations that restrict or control them without their sign-off in advance. Just kinda like we get the Chatham sign-off in advance, right? Before we vote?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, we
You know.
have, per the IMA, we have to submit
Right.
any proposed regulation changes
Yeah.
to them for, I think, 60 days prior to.
Well, would that be unreasonable to submit something to the, so that we didn't have to go through a dual or triplicate process every time we change something? Maybe we have something where we submit it to the Board of Selectmen and say, gee, you folks have part of the governance of this section, so we are suggesting these changes, and we'd like you to concur or not, and put it in writing.
Yeah, but I think, and that's what I was, so at least at this point, haven't,
Okay.
partly why I hadn't proposed any edits to the land use controls
Right.
was because I didn't want to have to get into the whole rewriting with the selectmen. And
Yeah.
after going through it, it became a little bit more clear to me what the intent of that land use controls portion was, so I didn't necessarily, at least in my opinion, feel that that section needed to be edited. But,
I see.
Do we have to approve this today?
no,
No,
Okay.
plenty of time.
No, just a review.
Because it will go
Ongoing
to Chatham
discussion.
next, so that'll take forever.
Yeah, before we send it to Chatham, I mean, I'd like to really
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
dig into it. And at that point, we could send it to Chatham, the Board of Selectmen.
All right?
Yeah,
it was my intention to keep it on as kind of a recurring topic until we
Right.
got
Until
to
we're
a
ready.
final draft.
you know, just in the spirit of conservation, could we kind of agree we don't need the entire regulations for the sake of the people every time?
Just a page type.
Yeah, or can we bring our own? I hate to think
Yeah.
of the staff printing out
Trees.
500 pages and collating them every meeting, or maybe have one extra here if somebody forgets it or something.
That's fine, wait.
Huh?
That's a great idea. I agree with you, Noreen, I agree with you.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
I agree.
Save the trees.
More discussion to
You
come.
can't reach me from there anyway, so,
I know, this is where we should be.
I know, this is where it should
Gary.
be. I'm not in the danger zone. Any other hot topics there, Dan?
So I would say, we just kind of keep this on the
Yeah,
agenda
absolutely, yeah.
until we get it resolved.
Yep.
You
All right.
know? What else?
I'm good.
Katie, are you good? All right, thank you. All right, so we're good with this?
We'll definitely talk to you some more.
Oh, yeah. You helped a lot. Thank you,
Thank you,
Katie.
Katie.
Thanks, Katie. Have a good one.
All right, moving on to Commissioners' Report. Mr. Thompson, you have anything? Noreen?
Fine.
John?
All set?
Dan, two quick questions. Oak Street Tank, how is it operating?
Great.
That's it.
Sorry, I'm
That's
smiling.
it.
We just, we were troubleshooting, I think I made the board aware a month or so ago, we had to rebuild the altitude valve at the Route 39 tank. So we've been dialing that in. And I would say as of last week, a week and a half ago, it's been working great.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's it, one question. That was all I had. Do you want to send those down? We can sign those?
Yes.
And we need, another meeting date.
When's phase 3 figuring on coming in?
Construction
Yeah,
for houses or,
houses, yeah, just,
hold on. I want to say it was like 600 and something
How
houses.
many houses?
600.
Yeah, 660. Oh, that was the original, but,
When do you think it's gonna come online?
oh, a
Phase
couple
3?
years.
Yeah,
If we start construction,
so I got people, their systems are starting to fail.
yeah, phase 3 or contract, or
Phase 3.
phase 3, right?
Phase 3, yeah.
I'd say if we appropriate money, construction money next spring, construction would likely start summer, fall of '23. Could likely be a 2-year construction like it was with phase 2. So I'd
Okay.
say 25
Okay.
should be
Yeah,
about
just
the time
people
letters would be
asking,
going out.
Yeah, okay.
But, I mean, oh, we don't sign this, right? No? Or do we?
Oh, I think that's just the cover. Is that the same one?
I don't know. If we're supposed to sign the bottom, ones,
scanned?
you know.
Is that, no, the scanned abatement?
It
Are we
says to sign.
Yeah, right here, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a big if, 30 million, a vote for 30
Yeah.
million, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna, yes, I don't.
Yeah, I'm
I
just
try
saying,
never to speak definitively
If,
about anything.
if it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Minus 25%, hopefully, Noreen.
Well, of course, minus
And then another
probably
3.3.
75%, I think. Whoops, all right, here we go.
Look at my own
Is
pen.
there any water or wastewater department business that needs to be done by a certain date to close the books? I mean, I'm used to the town closing the books. In other words, in terms of our next meeting, are there any adjustments that need to be made by nothing we need to vote on? Doesn't
I
sound
think
like
so.
it. All right,
We need a next meeting date. 2 weeks out would be the week leading into 4th of July week.
Before the 4th or after the 4th?
I would like to get the evaluation going.
Oh, yeah.
So, the 27th through the July 1st, you want to stick with Thursday the 30th? Does that still work? 11 o'clock?
Yeah, let's do the 30th, yeah.
11 o'clock?
11? What time?
What, 11 o'clock, yeah,
Okay.
What's the date, the 30th?
Yeah,
the 30th, at the water department, please.
should we go ahead and book another one, or?
I don't think we really have anything else hanging, do we, besides the evaluation?
I get that evaluation.
We actually have a couple of things that we need to put on the agenda, so yeah, the 30th would be good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Caleb, for coming over.
Yeah, sorry for